Welcome to Below the Line with Dr. Bennie L. Harris. The Chancellor of the University of South Carolina Upstate talks with top leaders about issues such as change, technology, education, and leadership. Please enjoy.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so honored that you have joined me on our podcast, Below the Line. Is a leadership podcast that I've had the joy of having some amazing leaders, in which I'm so honored that you have taken time out of your very, very busy schedule, both campaigning and serving in this current capacity. I know it keeps you very busy, but thank you for being on Below the Line.
Well, Chancellor, thank you so much for having me. I always love to talk about, business and why I think it's important that people follow their dreams and they don't become the roadblocks in their own life. So thank you for having me on.
And we have some time to talk about it. I had a wonderful opportunity to hear you at the Upstate Talent Forum, and you made a very big impact there. People still talking about it. It's trending on social media. So let's jump straight into it. Let's start at the beginning. You were born in Ohio. You're the granddaughter of Polish immigrants, and your parents instilled in you the values of hard work and civic involvement. And how did those early family years influence and inform your leadership and your ideas today?
Well, yeah, that is a lot to unpack, but you're right. I think most of what I felt in the calling to serve really came from my grandparents.
Okay.
My grandmother lived with us growing up. She left Poland at 15 and got on a boat and came here for the seeking of the American dream.
Took a lot of courage to do that.
Yes. I mean, when you think now, would you let your 15-year-old, how far would you let him wander, right?
not across the sea.
Exactly. And so, but she had this, amazing passion for this country. And, it wasn't where she was born, but she felt so honored. And she kept telling us that if we ever could serve, if we could ever make this country better, that we should always take the opportunity to do that. And so as I started to think about where I wanted my life, my dad always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but grew up, times were tough. I mean, Depression, immigrant parents, he didn't have the courage to kind of go out because, like a lot of people back then, he had a good job, had health insurance, he was putting his kids through school. Why rock that boat? Right. But I saw that he always wished for more, and he always was a huge champion to say, do whatever you want. Like, don't be the roadblock that stops you from doing what you want to be or what you want to become. He used to tell us three things: work hard, do good, and aim higher. And I put that on my challenge coin, and I talked about it when I ran with the governor as lieutenant governor, how that motivated me to keep going. And so I really believe that my grandparents, my parents were a solid foundation. My dad's desire to want to be an entrepreneur kind of gave me the push I needed to say, go and do this. There's never going to be a great time. You just got to kind of jump off the cliff and work hard.
What was your dad's name?
Emil.
Emil.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he still living? Or?
No, my dad, that's a bit of the heartbreak in my life when I look back. My mom is 97. She turned 97 a few weeks ago. She lives with me. It is a blessing. She lives with me. And so it always does make me feel good because I think my dad would have loved to see, first, the business I created. Right. And then secondly, that is his daughter is a lieutenant governor of South Carolina running for governor of all things,
That's amazing.
I know. But she always likes to, she knows that it's something I wish she could have seen and reminds me all the time he can.
Yeah. And who never knows, he's probably seeing it. So
I know, yeah.
After earning an accounting degree at Cleveland State University and starting your career in finance, you moved to Travelers Rest, South Carolina. What drew you there, one? And how did relocating influence your personal and your professional growth?
So my husband is what got me down here.
Okay.
I mean, I met my husband. We were in the same industry. I used to travel down. I had clients in this area, and he kind of opened this world of South Carolina to me, and I loved it. I loved the weather. I loved the people. When I started my business, this is where everything was happening. The Southeast was growing quickly. Initially, my plan was to kind of start it in Ohio. He would kind of start a phase of it, and it would come together. And we just started growing so much down here that this became the home base. I was glad because this is where I wanted to be. So that's how I got here.
And actually, you probably would have ended up moving here anyway because everybody's moving to South Carolina, it seemed like.
Everybody has moved here. I know. And so my leadership today really comes from what I've learned in business.
Okay.
That you really have to always be thinking 5, 10, 15 years out. I always say, if you're not looking 10 years ahead, then you're looking in the rearview mirror.
Okay.
And so that's how it has shaped how I look at the state. Look at harnessing technology, because that's what we did. Like when I owned a payroll HR company, and when we first started it, I hired more payroll people than I did any other department in our company. By the time we did our M&A, we were a technology company. And that's because, I could see the advantage of investing in technology to give ease of work to our clients, letting them be able to come in and view files and reports whenever it was convenient for them. And so that's kind of shaped how I look at government and why I believe that if we can harness technology, if we can harness AI, and we could bring that into government, I mean, the amount of savings for the taxpayers is just incredible.
Because you think about oftentimes the inefficiencies that's talked about in government and how do we leverage technology and upskill our employees, our workforce, to embrace that technology really is where you can save a lot of money and create great efficiency.
Absolutely. And everybody is searching for employees, right? And we're, our workforce is aging, and we're never going to be able to outpace our growth with finding talent to bring into those. And that's where we can really, really leverage technology to really push us ahead. I think, when you talk about government, everybody wants to do something big.
Right.
Build buildings, build bridges. Those are like the wow things. But when you really get into what makes government something efficient that everybody would aspire to and be proud of, those aren't like real sexy things, right? Like, we need new software. Like, nobody's going,
those are things that matters when you're looking at the Treasury Department or whatever department, when it's not efficient, we feel it.
Yeah.
In so many ways. So living and raising your family on a horse farm and Travelers Rest has shaped how you balance work, community, and family. So what lessons has that lifestyle taught you about leadership, resilience, and community?
Well, it was kind of a dream. I had little kids. We had a big business that was growing. It so worked for us. I mean, if I could figure out how God put all those things together as we were growing, I would put it in a book and try to sell those secrets. It was kind of one of those God-wing things. We had a lot of property. We built our offices in front of our horse barn. Okay. And it was a great draw for employees because everybody loved to come to work. And our horses were really spoiled because people brought apples and carrots all the time. But it gave me the ability to be close to home, to still be involved with my kids. I do a lot of speaking to women, obviously, that are thinking about being entrepreneurs and starting their own. But in their biggest, I think the biggest roadblock for them is how will I balance my family with trying to start this business? And I always looked at it from the glass half full standpoint. Is, when you can control your own schedule, that becomes a game changer. Like, my children knew we had a business, but I was still the room mom for them. I could still go on field trips because I could kind of coordinate my schedule. And so I've always tried to use those things and talk to women entrepreneurs about that and say, like, you can work around things so much easier when you are focused and you have control of your life. And my kids would laugh and say, I do not know work-life balance. There is no such thing in my world. But I was able to come up with a calendar that made sure I was not just focused on business. That really made it intentional to be at my kids' games and to be there for their classroom activities and things like that.
I think sometimes when you label things, whether it's work-life balance or whatever you choose to label it, it puts fear in your head.
Yeah.
Because you're working against that label and not against the glasses half full.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like what I tell students here, when you become afraid of mathematics, it's going to be hard for you to do mathematics.
Absolutely.
So many people tell you that it's hard, then in your head it's really hard.
I agree.
But you talked about oftentimes you're speaking to women talking about work-life balance, but you built quality business solutions from the grounds up, transforming into a high-growth company, recognized among the nation's fastest-growing women-led business. What leadership principles from your entrepreneurial journey have most influenced your approach as lieutenant governor?
Probably to be present.
Okay.
So I was present at work all the time. I made relationships with my clients. That's what separated QBS from ADP or Paychex or any of our competitors, is that we wanted to be client-oriented.
Okay.
How do we make their experience good? How do we offer something our competitors didn't? And that was meeting people where they were. And that's how I've been able to take that and bring it in to my new role as lieutenant governor. I've spent 7 years traveling the state. I want to hear from people. I want to hear what we're doing good. I want to hear where we need to improve. But being present, it's the one great feedback I get back is you're just so normal.
You know, out of all I don't know a lot of lieutenant governor's name, but I know your name. Because you have been and are the most present lieutenant governor that I've in a viable way.
Thank you.
You've spoken at our classes here at USC Upstate. You've come to talent forums, and you have always added so much value with your presence there. So for that, I thank you.
Well, thank you.
But definitely that had to be a lot of your intentionality and things that you learned on your business journey, as well as your parents. So you made history as South Carolina's first Republican woman to serve as lieutenant governor and the first to be elected jointly with the governor. Now, how has that unique path shaped your priorities and the way you serve? And talk about that joint election that people, I think is understated, but talk about the significance of that as well.
Yeah, so, I've got to know the governor well during the presidential election. We were both big fans of President Trump. That's how we got to know each other. And he called me one day because he was going to be the first governor to be able to pick his running mate.
Okay.
And so when he called me and asked me to come down and speak with him, I thought he was going to ask me to be on a board or a commission. And my husband told me, just say no. Like, we don't have any more time, right? Say no. When he asked me to be his lieutenant governor, he said something to me when I asked why. Like, why me? And he said, I want a business person. I want somebody with a fresh set of eyes. It's what drew me to the president. I wanted a business person, somebody with a fresh set of eyes. And so he kind of spoke to me in a weird way, and it made me passionate about doing that. And so, what it did for me, what I realized really early on, and it's a great story, is that because I'm the first female Republican lieutenant governor, because I'm the first lieutenant governor elected, I took that on as a big responsibility. Set a high bar, be a good example. And I always wanted to be a good example for my children. I wanted to be a good example for my kids' friends who knew who I was. I guess I just really didn't think the magnitude of my reach, right? And probably a month in to being lieutenant governor, I had a dad bring his young daughter Fern in to see me. I have it on my calendar. I stop at Walgreens on the way in to get some candy. I don't know why they're coming, but I want her to like me, right? Yeah. So she comes in. We have a great visit. We take all of our pictures. She's going to leave. I asked her dad, I said, reason for the visit? I mean, was it a school project? He said, no. I take her to school every day. We go past the Capitol. And one day she asked me if any ladies work in that building.
Oh, wow.
And it really hit me like a ton of bricks that young eyes are really watching what we're doing.
It matters.
It matters. And because of that, I think it's really important to set a good example, to act with grace, to be the leader you want your kids to look at, to be a leader you would want somebody to emulate.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've tried to do is put a lot of grace into my life. Like, there are people that you're never going to agree with, but I realized early on that when you're the lieutenant governor, when you're any elected official, you are elected to represent everyone. People who voted for you and didn't, people who agree with you and don't. And so when you run for an office, you can run as a Republican, as a Democrat, but when you serve, you have to serve everybody. And so I've really tried to take that to heart and take it seriously and make sure that any young eyes that are looking at me, their parents wouldn't be scared that they were going to emulate me. How about
actually, I believe with young people, what they see is what they'll be.
Yeah.
And so regardless of what political party you're holding it, you got to recognize, as you just stated, that you represent all the people.
Yes.
And they're looking at you, and those and it carries a significant influence.
Yeah.
So I often try to remember that what they see is what they will be.
I agree.
Especially when you deal with young folks. So as a former business leader, you have championed small businesses and public-private partnerships. What do you see as South Carolina's greatest strength in supporting small business innovation and growth?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty biased, but I think it's our colleges, our technical colleges, it's our community colleges. You know, when we talk to businesses, not just from around the country, but around the globe, that's what they talk about as workforce. And we have the ability to create an amazing workforce because of what we, and it was the idea that the governor and I said, we need more people with secondary degrees and certifications. It's how we intentionally put the WIN scholarships into place. I mean, we have impacted 121,000 South Carolinians.
That's amazing.
With our WIN scholarships. That is such an achievement. That's where I think we excel. It's our people. And we want to continue to give back. I would love to see a day when every high schooler coming out of 12th grade is either college ready, military ready, or work ready. I talked about it a little bit at the talent forum. And we can do that. I mean, I think we do really well getting our kids college ready and military ready. What we need to really focus on is how do we get those certifications into the K through 12 program for those kids who at that point don't see themselves going on to secondary education. We have a lot of jobs that need to be filled. We need those kids to stay engaged in school. We want to give them a pathway forward.
And actually, I agree, and I see that as an opportunity to develop certifications that they can take that learning, those certification, and use it towards degree credit if they decide they want to continue to pursue a four-year degree or even a different type of degree. So all of that learning and experiences really adds value to that process. So the whole continuum has to work together.
I agree. I think we need to start looking at learning as lifelong learning.
Yes.
You know, it used to be, and I might have said this at the forum, is that when I went to school, you picked the career you wanted to be in, and that's what you kind of assumed you were going to retire doing, right? You hope to move up the ladder. That is so not the way life is anymore because technology is changing so quickly, careers are changing so quickly that you have to go in and say, okay, this is where I'm going to be, but if I want to advance, I'm going to have to keep moving on with my schooling.
And you know, we talk to leaders all the time that our jobs are to prepare students for careers that don't exist today.
Yes.
And so when you teach them how to learn, teach them how to think, how to create, how to take advantage of opportunities, then add to that. With AI, we're going to talk a little bit about that. It's going to be changing even more rapidly than the whole technology infrastructure.
I agree.
Yeah. So you launched the Empowering Tomorrow's Leaders Initiative to connect teens with jobs and life skills. Why is early career readiness so important to you, and what impact are you seeing so far? We talked a little bit about that.
So, you know, as I said earlier, we really put into play the WIN scholarship. So what it was doing, it was taking young adults and adults who were kind of in these jobs that were not going to take them into a career. Okay. They were literally in a job. And we said, come back, utilize these, get degrees, you know, get certifications so that you can have a career. Well, then it opened up all these jobs. And we started to see our small businesses having problems capturing talent to work.
Yeah.
Mom and pop jobs, especially coffee shops, ice cream parlors, things like that. Well, when I was in high school, that's what high school kids, college kids, those were the jobs they filled. And I read this great article, and it talked about how youth employment was at the lowest it's been in our nation's history.
Wow.
And it made sense because the favorite coffee shop you wanted to go to after church on Sunday wasn't open on Sunday because they couldn't find workers to open. Or the ice cream parlor you wanted to go to on a Saturday night closes early. And so, businesses are saying we're lacking soft skills from our graduates. We get them, they're well educated. We got to tell them how to show up on time. We have to tell them to put their phones down and talk to their peers. We have to tell them how to show conflict resolution within our clients.
So how do we balance that between this technological society where you have Instagram and a lot of with working from home and people use a lot of technology, so these soft skills in terms of communication and engagement and networking and stuff are becoming smaller and smaller, lacking. Where's the balance? How do you see the balance on that?
Well, I called on parents to kick their kids off the couch and get them working again. Because the other side of that we were seeing is that parents were realizing their kids had no sense of fiscal responsibility.
Okay.
And I don't believe you can really teach that to somebody who's never had a job, because you and I know there's probably 10 other things we could be doing today.
Right.
But we have to come to work because people count on us to show up for work. And you're giving up something to get your paycheck. Yeah. And now you start to say, is it worth it to buy this item for all I had to give up, all the things I wanted to do that day? Yeah. You learn that. I mean, there's so many kind of hidden skills you learn in those first jobs. Yeah.
My daughter called me every week almost because she's working now as a resident. And so she's get up early in the morning, having to work late, and she doesn't control her schedule as much. And she's like, "Dad, how did you do this?" I'm like, "I did it. I'm still doing it." So
yeah, I know. It didn't end at all.
So it's amazing. So you've strongly supported school choice.
Yes.
And the technical college system as pathways for opportunity. How do you balance expanding choice with ensuring high quality, equitable education for all students?
So, I sit with lieutenant governors from all across the country.
Okay.
And the biggest advancements in educational success has come through school choice. And you can look at other states and see that.
Okay.
I think we can do that here. I was out at Liberty Charter in Sumter yesterday. You talk about a dynamic school where they're able to really reach their students without kind of the restraints that public schools may do. Yeah. Parents choose to send their kids. They can put some restrictions on parental involvement. Okay. They have a dad squad that comes in and kind of helps. I mean, they're doing such creative things. They scored, this was their first report card. They scored good. Excellent is the top, then good. They are only one of 2 schools in Sumter that have scored excellent or good. Okay. That means everybody else is below that. Yeah. I believe coming from the business world, competition is great. Yeah. I think competition makes the cream rise. We've done a lot. I said it, I found myself saying it over and over yesterday. Secretary Zais came to see me when I first became lieutenant governor. And he brought me this big white binder, and he was in Washington working for Betsy DeVos then. And he said, "Lieutenant Governor, I don't want anybody to ever trick you, so I'm arming you with this information. Poor kids can learn. And this is the data that shows it. And what makes the difference is a good teacher. So keeping the best and brightest in the classroom, allowing them to unleash and really teach. If we can keep more of those teachers here, giving an environment they can thrive in, and that's what I hear from states that have really engaged in school choice. Parents become more involved in the educational process because the money follows the child. So they want to make sure that they have their child in the right place. Teachers feel like They have to be dynamic because they have to show progress. I think the administration, that happens with them too.
So how do we work with public schools in helping to create that level of accountability? Because there's a lot of great stories of poor kids being very successful in public schools, but there's a lot of accountability. I love the fact that the state has invested a lot in teachers.
Absolutely.
Increasing teacher salaries. I think that goes a long ways and keeping teachers. And I do believe in school choice. My wife and I didn't wish I had gotten some money to do it while we were growing up, but it cost but at the time.
Me too.
Came out of our pocket, but we did it because we wanted our kids to have a Christian education.
That's
and that was important to us. So I do believe that parents should have that option to support that. And I believe that we need to make sure that we figure out how to create that level of accountability in the public schools as well when people can't always do it.
Well, I think what everybody's talked about is there are a lot of great public schools. And when you know you have competition at the corner, then you have to even be better. And there are some, I believe that there's many parts of the states where parents are so happy in the school systems of their kids, and they wouldn't choose to take them anywhere else. But I think that's how you get everybody to compete with a high bar.
I agree. I think parents have a right to make sure their kids get what everybody else deserve. I agree with that.
And I think schools, when they realize that they could lose all their students, just like the parochial schools that we send our kids to, or charter schools, when they know that's an option, then they do. Like I said, the teachers teach at probably more passionately, and administration makes sure that the parents are involved and the parents get involved, and parental involvement. When you look at schools that are really performing high, parental involvement is key.
It's key. It is. There's a lot of great research around that.
Absolutely. And we want all of our parents to feel like that they can make a difference in their kids' lives. I think for a long time, pre-COVID, parents kind of thought, well, if I don't hear anything, then everything's good. And now, I think you're seeing more and more parents that want involvement.
Yeah. So you may have been talking about this experience during the Talent Forum, but you've taken part in initiatives ranging from community cleanups to an expedition to protect natural resources. How do environmental stewardship and civic engagement connect in your vision for a thriving South Carolina?
Well, it all goes together.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to come to a state that's littered with garbage.
Yeah.
And BMW tells a great story right up here in Spartanburg. So the former president of BMW North America talked about when BMW was looking for a place to lay brick and mortar.
Okay.
They wanted to look for a place that people took pride into where they lived, because they felt that if you took pride in where you live, that would translate into the products that you were building. And that's why they settled here. And most people don't know that story. And so I always looked at, early on, people were like, why do you care? Why did you start the Grab a Bag campaign? I said, because it's an economic development issue. Yeah. Nobody wants to come, like I said, to a state that, one, nobody cares about, or garbage is on the streets. Commerce had told me that they had brought people here from other countries, left out of the airport, saw garbage on the interchanges, and they have left, because that's not what they're looking for. Yeah. So to me, it's economic development. Two, it's a tax burden. Yeah. People don't realize the hundreds of millions of dollars that we pay to clean up trash on the sides of the road. And so if we want to get to zero state income tax, well, we better figure out how we cut things that we can all do ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. So
I think we have to create that ownership. We have to create with everyone. When I walk around campus, if a piece of garbage on the ground, I'm not going to wait for somebody to pick it up. Just pick it up and keep walking and you model that for folks, then you'll find your students doing the same thing as well.
I think so too.
So in December 2023, you briefly served as acting governor.
Yes.
How did that experience shape your understanding of the role's responsibility?
Well, we had a perfect. My time at governor, during that short time, everything went smashing. Everything was perfect.
Is that what we have to look forward to?
That's what you have to look forward to with me as governor. Everything went without a hitch. But it's a huge responsibility. This is an amazing state that's growing. We are going to have to really focus on the careers of tomorrow and the industries of tomorrow. Okay. And so to do that, we have to make sure that we have enough resources to get there. We need to make sure that energy is top of mind for everybody so that we can continue to grow. We always have to make sure that energy is affordable and reliable. And so lots of good things happening. We are resurrecting our nuclear power plant, VC Summer. That will get going. That will provide a lot of baseload energy that we need to continue to grow. And, we're doing a 30-year water plan. Okay. And so there are all these things of the future. And like I said earlier, we need to make sure that we now put together a big picture vision for the state.
So
and
energy
growth.
is just critical for our future.
It is.
When you think about the data centers that are being built, AI, the future, South Carolina has to invest in reliable energy.
Absolutely. When you talk about, for a long time, everybody was like, we don't want data centers. We don't want this. Well, if we, first off, anytime you Google something on your phone, on your computer, on your tablets, you're engaging a data center.
You are.
And sometimes I don't think people make that connection. Yep. And where do you want that data? Because if it's not on American soil, then it's on somebody else's soil. And I think we've seen over the years that we want to protect our own information, our own data. And as leaders, we shouldn't be saying no to everything that's hard. We should be saying, how do we get there?
I agree completely. I just wrote this message to campus about these decisions are not just a simple machine; they're a very complex machine. Yeah. And so we just can't say no to them. We got to think about how to get to these solutions. You recently announced your campaign for governor in 2026.
Yes.
Leveraging your business experience and alignment with conservative values, what message do you hope resonate with the voters most?
So there's probably two pieces of that, right? Yeah. I think my business acumen is something I talk about because that's what I hear people say they want. They want a business person at the helm, somebody who's created jobs, somebody who's signed the front of paychecks, who understands and can work on 12 problems at a time, because any business owner will tell you have to keep 12 balls in the air at all times, right? The other thing is, look at my resume. When you're looking, if you look at all the resumes of all the people that throw their hat in the ring, who would you hire to be the CEO of your company? If you wouldn't hire them to be the CEO of your company, why would you vote for them to be the CEO of your state? Because everything we do, the growth plan we have, investment in schools, investment in infrastructure, investment in technology, that's going to all come from that person. So you want to really make sure you take a look. Take a hard look.
Thank you. One question as we come close to this particular podcast conversation. Your campaign highlights your relationship with President Trump.
Yes.
And commitment to conservative principles, including school choice. We talked about that. Eliminating income tax and cutting regulations. How do you translate those priorities into policies that benefit all in South Carolina? So
probably the number one thing that made me want to throw my hat in the ring years ago and run with the governor is because I heard from so many small businesses that were clients of ours. And they would say, regulations are just bogging me down. I don't know that I can do it anymore. I can't keep up with it. And so, by sunsetting all the regulations, by bringing them back up and taking a good, careful look at them, I think we make it easier for businesses to be profitable. When business can be profitable, there's not a business owner I know that doesn't want to give their employees better benefits, that doesn't want to add more to 401k plans, that tries to make their offices better and give more time off. I mean, I hear that from business owners all the time. So when we can make business better, when we can then attract more businesses here, and not just manufacturing, but in research, you're seeing more and more bio in the biofield coming, right, to South Carolina. I want to keep the best and brightest here. Yeah. And so by making this a fertile playground for business where, taxes are low and regulations make sense and we continue to thrive, we offer better jobs to our people. And that's good for everybody, you know, and then taking care of our environment, because we have the best of all worlds.
Yeah.
You can eat breakfast in the mountains and you have dinner at the coast.
Yeah.
And so taking care of our coastline, taking care of our wooded areas, hunting and fishing that so many South Carolinians love, you mix that all together and everybody thrives.
I didn't mention this earlier, but this is a tree campus at USC Upstate, and we're honored nationally every year for being a tree campus. I think we have about 3,500 trees on campus, and I've gotten a lot of education from Bruce Southern, who maintain our campus facilities, about all the beautiful trees that are here. So we take a lot of pride in being a tree campus and our environment here. And I'm here with Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette, and I appreciate you being here on Below the Line. Anything you want to say before we close out?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me here. I hope I've inspired one person to say, going out on your own, being an entrepreneur, you know, don't let the negativity stop you. Don't let, you will be your worst enemy. You'll be your biggest roadblock. Push all that away, work hard, do good, aim higher. It was great advice given to me by my dad, and I try to pass that off every time I can.
Thank you very much. And sitting here with you, I have hope for our future.
Thank you so much.
The Below the Line podcast is brought to you by the University of South Carolina Upstate. Look for our monthly write-up in Greenville Business Magazine, and for more information, go to uscupstate.edu.